Good afternoon, everyone. We are here today to announce an arrest in relation to a firearm discharge incident targeting a Jewish-owned business this past weekend. And as a separate announcement, we will also provide an update on our counterterrorism security unit. At around 1:28 a.m. on Friday, a suspect shot multiple rounds at a restaurant before driving away. We have been in close contact with the business owner, who was understandably very shaken. While there were no reported injuries, this kind of attack leaves a real impact on people's sense of security, and in this case, particularly within Toronto's Jewish community. As Superintendent Forde will explain in just a minute, our investigators were able to move quickly to identify the suspect, and on Sunday, 2 days after the incident, we arrested him. As of right now, 4 charges have been laid, and this is still an active and ongoing investigation. One of the reasons our officers were able to identify the suspect quickly is because of our enhanced deployment in the area, both overt and covert. Specifically, in this case, covert assets saw the suspect fleeing and gathered critical information that led to the arrest of the suspect. We don't want this kind of violence in Toronto, and this is why we set up Project Resolute, Task Force Guardian, and other initiatives to protect our communities. And this is why we will continue to hunt down whoever is responsible for this and other similar shootings in our city. This is a whole-of-service effort. I also want to thank and recognize our members from the Integrated Gun and Gang Task Force, Emergency Management and Public Order, and Intelligence Services for their essential work this past weekend. Our new counterterrorism security unit, which includes our hate crime team, also participated in this investigation. Our response has been quick. Our response has been integrated. Today, we send a clear message to whoever else is thinking of targeting our communities. We will do everything we can to stop you and hold you accountable. Thank you, and I'll now pass it over to Superintendent Forde.
Thank you, Chief, and good afternoon. As the Chief mentioned, this is an alarming incident involving the discharge of a firearm at a Jewish-owned business in our city. The second time this particular owner has been targeted. Officers were already in the area as a part of our increased deployment into Jewish neighborhoods, particularly around Passover. They responded immediately and were able to gather critical information, including the vehicle description and license plate. From there, investigators moved quickly, canvassing for video, collecting evidence, and identifying the individual believed to be responsible. That work led to execution of the criminal code search warrant in Brampton, where the accused was arrested and more evidence was seized. This is a clear example of how targeted deployments, proactive policing are making a difference. Having the right resources in place allowed officers to respond without delay and quickly identify and arrest a person believed to be responsible. Mohammed Mahdi, 30 years old of Brampton, has been arrested and charged with multiple firearms-related offenses. This remains an active and ongoing investigation, and we are working to determine why this particular business was targeted, whether this incident was connected to other similar incidents, and whether there was other additional individuals involved. We recognize the concern this has caused, particularly within the Jewish community, and we will continue to take all necessary steps to keep people safe. I will now turn it over to Chief Superintendent Katherine Stephenson.
Thank you, Superintendent. As the Chief mentioned, I'm here to provide an update on our new Counterterrorism and Security Unit. The role of this unit is to detect, prevent, and disrupt terrorism and violent extremism in Toronto. In the case of this firearm discharge this weekend, the Counterterrorism Security Unit has been embedded in this investigation and working closely with the Integrated Gun and Gang Task Force. In cases such as this shooting and in any incident where there is reason to believe that extremism or hate is a motivating factor, our Counterterrorism Security Unit will be involved in these investigations. To effectively detect, prevent, and disrupt terrorism and violent extremism, it is essential to examine any potential links to other incidents, threats, or activities, and to better understand associated networks, lone actor behavior, and online activity. Our new unit is also working in close partnership with other services such as the OPP and RCMP. Given the current global context, the polarization we're seeing online and on our streets, and the radicalization of certain discourse, building a counterterrorism capacity is essential. As the Chief Superintendent leading our intelligence services, Chief Demkiw directed me to set up our new Counterterrorism Security Unit in early March of this year. Later this month, we officially launched. And today, I can announce Superintendent Stephen Prentice will be leading this unit as the unit commander. Superintendent Prentice is well positioned for this role based on his experience in intelligence, his understanding of complex threat assessments, and his ability to translate information into actionable operations. He is a collaborative leader with strong analytical skills and a clear focus on prevention and public safety. He has already been engaged in this area for many years, and I look forward to his continued leadership in this space. As we have already said, this is a work in progress. The Counterterrorism Security Unit is already up and running, and we will continue to build in the coming weeks and months. Thank you.
Hi, Natalie Johnson, CTV News. Just to be clear to start, are you saying that it is too early at this point to know whether this was a hate-motivated crime?
Yes. So at this point, we are reviewing all evidence. It's not lost on us that there has been a number of shootings in a short period of time that have been targeting synagogues and Jewish-owned businesses. So we are looking at this investigation from all angles. That is why the Counterterrorism Security Unit, which includes hate crime investigators and experts, are embedded in these investigations.
Members of the Jewish community have referred to this particular incident as an act of domestic terrorism. Is that a fair characterization in your view?
I definitely understand why the Jewish community is saying that. At this point, it's too early to make those linkages. It's important to note, though, that we are in close partnership with the RCMP and OPP, and that they are also up to date on these investigations. If there were the evidence to suggest that this was terrorism and Section 83 charges, this investigation could easily streamline to the RCMP, who have primacy over those charges.
And so it's possible that at this point there could be more charges laid referring to potentially being a hate-motivated crime?
At this point, yes, we are still reviewing evidence, and it's critically important that we uncover the motive in this case. As I've said earlier, motive, whether that be networks or identifying lone actor behavior, this is critical to understanding the broader threat picture.
We noticed in the security footage the shooter was filming the shooting. Do you have a sense of why, and do you have video that you can talk?
Sorry. Like the Chief Superintendent said, this investigation is ongoing at this time. Some of our investigative leads that we are all trying to figure out right at this moment. I can't comment on exactly the theatrics and what happened with that particular investigation, or part of the investigation, sorry.
Are you working with CSIS in relation to these targeted attacks across the GTA and in what capacity?
At this point, I can tell you that we are working closely with our federal partners. And within the national security framework, there is established practices where intelligence does feed investigations.
Is it possible these crimes are planned or directed outside?
At this point, it's too early to make those linkages.
Hi, I'm Nicole with Global News Toronto. Quick question. We know that this business has been targeted in a different location. Any indication about whether this shooter was responsible for that too, or anything you can tell us about a possible link there?
I'll turn it over to Superintendent.
Thank you for your question. Like I said earlier, the investigation's in its infancy. and we came upon the suspect quickly. The investigation, like I said, we're working through all the evidence and where that takes us, and we will lay charges if the charges need to be laid.
On that other incident, what can you tell us about? Thanks.
I think it's important, we've been at this podium a few times talking about shootings in the Greater Toronto Area and specifically in Toronto that have unique characteristics. These are all very, very active investigations. I've committed here before, and I'll commit again to make it clear to everybody that we're going to follow every bit of evidence wherever it takes us. We will leave no stone unturned, and I can assure you that our gun and gang investigators, who are absolutely tenacious, will work day and night and follow every lead and have every resource necessary available to them, as will the Counterterrorism Security Unit and other parts of our organization that are working collaboratively to do everything we can to bring a resolution to all of our very active and open investigations.
Chief, what is your message to members of the Jewish community who are fearful right now?
Well, first and foremost, we have to acknowledge the fear. It's real. I was at a Seder dinner just the other day, and, it's very clear when you're in the community that people are very afraid to be who they are as Jewish members of our great city, afraid to acknowledge their heritage and their background. And quite frankly, that is not who we are as a city. I would say to members of the Jewish community that not only do we hear you, we stand with you shoulder to shoulder. We are committed to doing everything we can to, first of all, hold those responsible accountable for these types of horrible acts. And secondly, that we will be there preventing and deterring any further acts to the greatest extent we possibly can. And that's why we are here sharing today the very quick resolution in this case of a particular shooting. And it happened because not only did we have overt assets in and around, as people see, but as we've said before, we have covert assets, people, investigators and resources the community does not see that are working around the clock to do everything they can to bring a sense of safety and security and do everything we can to disrupt these acts of violence.
You said that because you had command posts over Passover, that's why you were able to respond so quickly. But do you plan on extending these command posts and having them out longer?
Well, the command post is, it will be there for as long as is necessary, but our posture will continue as long as it's necessary. And when we announced Task Force Guardian just before the start of the baseball season, we spoke about the changing threat environment that we're living in, both globally and locally. And we need to be responsive to that, and we're doing that by providing a very heightened presence of our police officers where the community can see them, but also bringing specific skills and tools that are necessary given the situation that we're all dealing with, and also making sure that our investigators are supported, resourced appropriately, and the covert assets that are required in these moments can have all the capacity they need. And we'll continue that posture as long as we need to.
Any other questions?
Appreciate you.